Well, hi, this is Sue Erickson, the Soggy Stamper. It's a kind of cloudy, overcast Friday afternoon in the end of January. This month has gone by so fast. And I am delighted to have you join me today as I, excuse me a minute here. As I make this fun, fancy card. I hadn't quite gotten it finished. Life got in the way yesterday. So I'll just finish this up right now, the card front. And then we'll get on with how to make it and talk a little bit about this Regency Park bundle. Some flowers on here. I think them popped up. So I really like this fun fold. Levon Schwendeman, who's another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, found it on YouTube. It was presented by somebody overseas, and she worked it out so that it was suitable for our size cards. Overseas they have a A6 card, I believe it is. It's a little bit bigger and won't fit in our envelopes. So she did all the work to resize it, for which I'm really grateful. Thank you, Levon. Okay, so the back of this has adhesive sheet on it. So we'll just stick that under there like that. And then we have to have a bow of some sort. Well, maybe not. I usually put something fun on it. Maybe I'll put some sequins on it after we get going. So this is the card, and you open it up, and it's a pop-up card. Isn't that cool? See how it stands up? And then it closes up. And I like cards like this because they can stand on a mantle. And you know what would be very cool? Would be to make one of these and put a miniature calendar on there. So it would sit there and you'd have the calendar there and you could put a picture over here of yourself. Ha! This is a nice gift idea. Just thought of that. So anyway, this is what we're going to make. We're going to be using the Designer Series paper from Regency Park. Gotta flip through the catalog. I haven't got it memorized quite yet as to what pages are what. Okay, so there is the ribbon that comes with it. I did not get the embossing folder, nor did I just got this stamp set, this bundle, and the Designer Series paper and the ribbon. But the ribbon wouldn't fit with my card here. So probably I'll use the crinkled white seam binding. I think that would go well. So at any rate, so we got this. And the Regency Park, there's 4 each of 12 double-sided design papers. And let me show them to you. I was hesitant at first to get them, but then decided after I saw some samples, I thought, oh yeah, I gotta have that. So here's one pattern. Turn it over, and this is the dotted that I have. Okay, then there's this floral, and dots, yellow polka dots on the back. There's a red floral. This is Poppy Parade, and the green is Shaded Spruce, and Night of Navy, I believe. When I get a package of 6x6, well, any of the Designer Series paper, I write on the back, because that is really hard to read. I handwrite the colors on this. So Shaded Spruce, Petal Pink, Night of Navy, Mango Melody, Balmy Blue are the colors. And since you can't keep the cellophanes in piece very well, what I do is use a quart-size Ziploc bag like this, and the whole packet fits in here very nicely. And then I store them in a shoebox, holding them upright. So anyway, here's a blueprint. Oh, I showed you that already. Here's some flowers, white flowers with stripes on the back. Multicolored flowers with a navy blue polka dot. Some bright yellow flowers. And kind of a crosshatch pattern on the back. Red. Poppy Parade again. And some petal pink with white polka dots. Another blue flowers, balmy blue, and some little flower pattern on that side. It's a very useful, versatile one. This is the one I'm using for this card as well. I have to set that aside because I need to cut some. And there's a pretty one. So the back sides are really nice neutral ones. And the fronts are full. You get 48 sheets for each of 12 designs for $12, I think. Let me flip back here. Yeah, for $12. That's really a good, quite a savings. So now let's get on with the card. So the card base is petal pink. It's 8.5. No, it's the 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5.5. That's our card base. We have one strip here that is 1.5 by 10 inches, and that is our mechanism here. And then we have another strip of the cardstock that is 5.5 by 4. Oh, no. Wait a minute. It's 2 by 5 1/4. And it's scored at 1/2 on each end. Like so. And that holds the mechanism in place. It goes like here. It holds the mechanism in place. So the 1.5 inch by 10 inch is scored at 1/2 inch. Let me get out my scoring board so you can see. My paper trimmer. So it was scored at 1/2 inch, and then at 5.5, and then I'll have to extend this out. To 7 1/4, 7 1/4, then 7.5. That makes just a narrow edge to it. I'm going the wrong direction. Okay, 7.5, and then out to 9 3/8, like that, and score it. Then for the designer series paper, I'll get down. There we go. For the designer series paper, I had a sheet of 6 by 6, and I cut out of it using Contour Scallops die. I used the largest one to cut out the design for the front. And I will just put that on the card front right now and get it out of the way. So that it looks a little more organized here. There we go. Where did this piece go? There it is. Okay, so for the interior, we have to cut out this, and then we need 4 strips of the designer series paper that are 1 1/4 by 5 3/8. And I'll cut those right now. First, I'm going to cut off the 5 3/8. And then I'll go this way for 1 1/4. There's 1. 2. 3. And 4. Okay, so we got that part taken care of. And put this away. And so let's start working on the mechanism. Okay, so this goes here, and it's 1 3/4 here and 1 3/4 here. If I put my thing right like that, so it'd go like that. It'd be 1 3/4, and I should have 1 3/4. Yep. Now you could use seal, stamp and seal, or you could use Seal Plus, but I want to use a little bit of the liquid multi-purpose glue so I can make sure I can move it around if necessary. Okay, so I want 1 3/4, and that's 1 3/4. Push that down, and then make sure, try to get it so that the edges are even with the edges of your card. Oh, that looks pretty good. Okay, so now here's the mechanism. Oh, another thing to do is burnish your folds. So burnish that. Burnish this one so that it lays as flat as possible for mailing. Okay, so we'll fold. We fold this one and we fold this one. And yep, they're all mountain folds. Yeah, and then down here at the end. Now it goes like this. Something's not right. It's like this. So they aren't all mountain folds. That one is a valley fold. So this piece wraps around like this. And then you have your thing standing up. This is your, where you put your, it's where you put this. Like that. So I'm going to put multi-purpose liquid glue again, so we can, so that's going to go on that one. And then this piece over here has some glue on it. And I found the easiest way to make sure this is all lined up well is to just line it up like this, close your card, so it's laying flat. And close it up. And there you go. See how it opens? Okay, so to decorate that, we'll put on some designer series paper. And I'll use seal. And I have had a heck of a time with the seal for several years now, getting it to dispense properly. And somebody on another demonstrator said they finally learned you have to be very light with your touch. You can't push down on it hard. So I try to remember to just lightly let it roll along with a little bit of a twist at the end. Oops. Okay, I didn't get my mechanism quite even. Okay, let's see if I can lift it up and move it down. I'm going to have to undo both. This might be easier said than done. So this is a lesson to learn, you guys. When you make this, make sure you've got it placed in the middle. You might even want to put your designer series paper on before you put the mechanism on. Okay, now let's put it in the middle. Sloppy. I meant to do that, you know, so that I could give you an object lesson or how to do what I say, not what I do. There's a cool way to, oh, this is not right. It's gotta be this way. Okay, so now I've got adhesive all over this piece. And I'll show you a little trick. Take 99% or even just rubbing alcohol and spritz it. And alcohol does not damage the cardstock. Rubbing it really hard can. But you can just kind of, the alcohol removes the adhesive so that it's no longer sticky. That's going to ruin the cardstock. My other trick is an embossing buddy. These come in that embossing plus kit that you can buy in the catalog. Along with, you get several brushes and you get a tray to put your embossing, you dump your embossing powder into the tray. Okay, so if we close it up, we'll have to let that dry pretty well before we close it up for good. Get back to the other piece. Okay, now you could stamp something in there. I'm going to leave it blank to write a message. Okay, so we'll set this aside for now and work on the embellishment here and on the front. So this is the largest of the dies. I haven't showed you the dies yet. This is what really attracted me to the whole suite, was these beautiful floral tags, labels. Aren't those gorgeous? And you have a variety of flowers that you can cut out. This actually fits inside here, and I will show you how that works in just a minute. So we're going to use the largest one. I'll get out my trusty mini stamp and emboss, cut and emboss machine. I want to remind you that during celebration, if you decide to become a demonstrator on my team, I'd love to have you as a demonstrator. There's all kinds of benefits to it. You get first glance at the new products and an opportunity to actually buy them before everybody else so that you can make samples to show on your blog and stuff like that. You get at least a 20% discount on what you purchase. And if you have a demonstrator underneath you, you get 25%. You get whatever your demonstrator underneath you sells or buys, you get financial benefit from that. Okay, what's really cool about this die is that it splits the corner there so that you can tuck the label underneath it. And I have a label already stamped with thanks. It also makes all kinds of little pieces of confetti. And I'm going to cut it out with this die. And the first time it didn't matter if it got crooked going through because I wasn't trying to line up stamping, but this time I'm going to hold it down with some washi tape. I think I need to get some fresh. I just keep a thing of washi tape handy. Stampin' Up! Tried to come up with a magnetic platform for the Stampin' Emboss, cut and emboss machines, and they just couldn't get it to meet their standards. So for now, it is not available. Anyway, as I'm saying, as a demonstrator, not only in your starter kit, which is $99, you get up to $175 worth of your choice of products. And you get business, you get a catalog, a couple of catalogs, and you get some business forms like order blanks, things like that. But for $129, you can get one of these that's like $30 less than what they normally sell for, in Baja Blue, which is a limited edition color for these machines. The Baja Blue is one of the new in colors coming up this next year. Oh, I made it. Okay, so we'll cut out the label, the thanks. Carefully peel off the washi tape. What the heck is that? Huh. Something is on my tag. I suspect it's a piece of washi tape. Let's see if I can peel it off. There it goes. And this is a really nice stitched label. And it fits in. Like this, which I think is so cool. Get out the rest of my things, poke them out. We sell a die brush that you can run over these to take them out so you don't have to poke them all manually, which is really quite a lifesaver, time saver if you're doing it. Now, I have tried putting this on using this stamp and seal, but kind of need to move it around a little bit, and that gets to be challenging with the stamp and seal, because once you put it on down, it's pretty much down there. So get that tucked in there, and we'll tuck the other end in. And then you straighten it out so that it's even with the other stitching. Come on. Well, that's pretty good. So now, if I were to put this exactly at the center, because it's long, it would stick out, kind of stick out on the end. So I want to make sure that it is tucked in, and if it's slightly off, it won't really matter. I'm going to again use liquid adhesive, right like that. And I'm going to close it up, and then put my label on. Hopefully I can get it straight, because I've got the liquid adhesive in there. I can, the multi-purpose glue, I can straighten it, move it around a little bit. Okay, so then when it pops up, it stands out like that. Oh, gosh darn. And it folds flat. And then when it opens up, it's like that. Yay! So that's the inside of our card. Now for the front side. I wanted something that would contrast with this, and came up with these two of the stamp set. This is the stamp set that goes with the bundle. And I'm looking for another piece of white cardstock. There we go. And I'm going to use these two stamps and these two stamps. And this has such a narrow stem to it that I am going to use a piece of the basic white that has an adhesive sheet on the back, so I don't have to try to put glue down that. I don't need it for the flowers because I'm going to pop them up. I'm going to use Memento. Sweet Sorbet and Pear Pizzazz. So now I have 1, 2, where is my outline? Need one more stamp. Here it is. For the leaves. So we'll do, going to do this, for this one I'm going to do the leaves first and then the detail afterwards, because it's a little bit easier to put the detail down. Stamp it like that. The green that goes with the Designer Series paper is the shaded spruce, but I do not like, it's a little bit dark for what I wanted. So I'm using the Pear Pizzazz instead. I think it goes better with the front of the card. Okay, and then we're going to do the detail in Memento. This is my go-to black. I like it because it washes off so well. And I like photopolymer because you can line things up pretty well because you can see through the stamp. Ha! Look at that. Perfect. Now, we'll cut that out in a minute. Let me stamp the flowers. And this time I'm going to use the Memento first. There. Photopolymer stamps, sometimes it's hard to get the ink to stick to them. And if that becomes a problem with any particular stamp set, I go to my stamp apparatus and use that, because you can stamp more than once without having it smear. Okay, and then Sweet Sorbet, and I originally stamped it without stamping off, and that was darker than what I wanted. So I'll stamp it off once and then stamp it. Come on, stay put. And see how you can see through? And if you don't have it exactly perfect, I understand that. I'm told that that's being artistic. The idea is to put the suggestion of color there. Okay, so now we'll cut these out. I think we can do them side by side. Or at least all on the same. At the same time. Okay, come here. Okay, so this is the die for the flowers, and this is for the leaf. So I'll position the flower one and tack it down. Do you see this little bit of ink that got on there from the stamp, from the block? I discovered that's why you do not use a block that is bigger than you need when you're stamping a stamp. I used to think it really didn't matter till I started getting those shadows, because if it's a really big block, it's hard to get it so that it is down just even, so that the rest of the block doesn't get into the ink. Lesson learned. Lesson I didn't do. Okay, now we'll run them through. So there are our flowers. And our leaves. Remember, the leaves have the paper backing. They have the adhesive sheet on the back, which makes it really easy to adhere stuff. And I suggest that you get a package or two of this and take at least about a half sheet of each of your colors of cardstock and apply the adhesive sheet to it right when you get it. That way, when you're ready to cut something and you go, oh, I need to have an adhesive sheet on it, it's already done. And there we are. Now let's find some bling to put on there. faceted gems, and I don't know whether they are still available or not. Let me go check on my catalog. If you are just a hobbyist stamper or just stamp for your own pleasure, knowing if it's retired or not doesn't matter so much, because you can use it. I can use it on my personal stuff, but when it comes to stamping for demonstrating cards and stuff, for the most part I need to use it. Use product that you guys can buy. Let's see, they're called Elegant Faceted Gems. They're solid faceted gems. Well, I do not think they're available now. My apologies. There's the Iridescent Pearl Basics. At any rate, you could use any kind of sparklies for this particular card. I'm going to use I think I will use the white ones. Okay, the other thing about Take Your Pick that's really nice is it has a little clay thing on the other end, so that when you're having troubles picking up a thing, you can just poke it down and pick it up. It's not quite strong enough to pick up the adhesive like that. So you need to remove it from the sheet. Oh, that's flipped over. And then you just touch it. Come on. Boy, this really wants to stick to the sheet this time. So there, can you see the little bit of sparkle? Yeah, like that. I'll have to add one to my sample card. Well, there we go. Persistence. There. So we have a couple of cards all ready to go that open. Let's say thanks and close. I just really like this. So that was the Sentimental Park bundle and the Regency Park Designer Series paper. This is Sue, the Soggy Stamper. I thank you for watching, and this video will be up on my YouTube channel, The Soggy Stamper, this afternoon. If you have any questions, my email is sue@soggystamper.com. I will also have this on my blog this afternoon, soggystamper.com, and I would love to have you, if you need any of the supplies, make me your demonstrator if you live here in the United States. And my store is creationsbysue.stampinup.net. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock. I don't know what I'll be doing then, but it'll be something probably with some of the new product in the catalog. And don't forget, when you're shopping, that this is celebration time, and for every $50 that you purchase in product, you can choose an item from this Stampin' Up! The celebration brochure. There are quite a few options for every $50, and there's a couple that you can get for a $100 purchase, and you can combine them in a variety of ways. So don't forget, come shop with me, and thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. Have a good weekend.